Welcome back to another episode of the Know Your Power podcast. I'm your host, Kendall Aaliyah.
And I'm Julia Renee. Beautiful. We didn't forget this time.
Beautiful, wonderful.
It feels like a lifetime since we've done a podcast, but it's literally, it's been a week.
We've both had really busy weeks.
Yes.
So I feel like that's more what this episode's going to be about, because I want to hear, you went to Canada, never been there.
I went to Canada.
I've been to Niagara Falls, which is like technically Canada, but I didn't like cross the New York to Canada border.
Oh.
I was on like the New York side looking at Canada.
Hi, Canada.
But it looked so pretty on your story. So I want to hear about like your week, your weekend,
It was
how it went, all the things.
So pretty there.
It was gorgeous. I was like, Julia's going to move and she's going to leave me.
It really did make me think about moving. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Because I came back home and I was just like,
yeah.
ew.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like everything's flat here. I love Texas because I'm used to it. I was born here. You weren't.
Have you ever lived elsewhere?
No.
Oh, wow.
I've always lived in Texas. So whenever I travel, especially, it's something about mountains. Whenever I travel and there's mountains, I come home and I'm like, I hate where I live. You know, I mean, it's only for like a short period of time, but of course I love like the community here. I love the friends that I do have here, but Zach and I we don't have kids yet. And we're like, if we're going to move, we got to move. But the only thing that really keeps me here is the podcast.
I feel so honored.
You know, and every time that Zach and I talk about it, because we'll be like, we want to move somewhere where there's mountains.
Yeah.
And, you know, eventually.
Dude, I'll just follow you.
Eventually.
I'm also way more a mountain person than I am a flat. We were also talking about moving like over the weekend for the first time, and I was like, stop.
Where would you move?
It's not on my top 3 or 5 or 10. But my boyfriend's family moved, like all of them are in Florida now. And I'm not a huge Florida person, but also Tampa like is really growing in the fitness industry. And I'm like, I know I would enjoy living there temporarily.
Yes.
So I view it as, okay, we're not married or have kids yet.
Yes.
I would live there for like a year and then move out.
That's what we're thinking of, moving somewhere for like a year while we can. And
you might as well. I feel like
once
like my brother and his wife, they have twins and they are 2 and they are also talking about moving, but they're like, it is now so much harder and a more, I guess, like solidified decision of where to move now that they have a family.
Yes. Because you don't want to move kids around and everything.
Yeah.
And you know what I just realized? My mom listens to this podcast and she's gonna see this.
I can cut it
and
out.
She's gonna text me. It's fine. No, it'll be funny because I can talk about it next.
This is all hypotheticals.
I
okay?
can talk about it next. I swear. If she hears this, she's gonna call me, and I will tell you guys when she calls me.
My family will also call me because my brother lives in Denver and he wants me to move there. My mom just moved to California. She wants me to move there. I'm like, we're being pulled. So I feel like we're going to probably stay here at least 1 more year, especially because we have family everywhere now. It's like fun vacations. I'm like, we could go to Florida for a long weekend, Cali for a long weekend, Denver, go skiing. Like that's already our plan this year.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we'll just travel a bunch and then maybe move somewhere.
I think we need to test out some places and see which one.
I think you would love Oregon so much. And I know you've mentioned that before. Yes. My boyfriend and I did like we flew into Oregon and did a road trip up to Washington and like stopped at all these hikes and all these like areas. So pretty. If it didn't like rain in the Pacific Northwest as much as it does, I would move there in an instant.
I know, me too.
Yeah, it's so pretty.
I really liked Utah when I went because of the mountains. It was
I've
just
never
like
been.
It was just so pretty, but I don't know if I'd like living in Utah other than like the mountains and stuff. But yeah,
anyway.
so that seeing Canada made me like, I'm not going to move to Canada, but seeing it and seeing like the mountains and just like everywhere you drive, it's pretty. And then I come back home and it's just like buildings and flat.
Austin's one of the prettier areas of Texas, at least.
It is. It definitely is. So yeah, that's been on my mind a little bit.
Anyway,
lately,
how was Canada?
It was great. They are nice there.
Are you able to talk about like what you were doing there?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are really nice there.
Yeah.
It is true. They're all
I've
really
heard.
nice. And so basically, Kirsten Marks is she does very similar things that I do. We kind of like have a women's community, a women's program, and this was her first women's retreat. And she invited Zach and I to come and run like an hour and a half, like speech talk. And so basically we did a Know Your Power retreat in like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So
Kristen had gone to your event.
She went
and
to
then
the first
now
one.
you're going to hers. So that makes sense.
And Kirsten and Brian it's Kirsten and Brian Mark, and they're the most incredible couple. And so Zach and I, like, it was really cool being with another like entrepreneur couple, and like me and her are very, we have a very similar like business model, and it was just really cool. She let us stay at her house, and it was a gorgeous house. They had a cute little doggy, and the dog, like, by the end of it, finally trusted me. It was a short-haired Chihuahua, but it wasn't.
It's hard to gain those.
It
those
wasn't.
animals'
Yeah,
trust.
it wasn't like a yappy Chihuahua, and like I was just very gentle with it. And then I remember, because it's a huge house, and Zach and I were the only ones there because our speaker slot was later in the day, so we went to the event a little bit later so we wouldn't just be sitting all day. And there was nobody in the house, and we were down like it's almost like a man cave down there, and it's like your private room, a private office and everything. And I hear the little dog going like like, no, like, where is everybody? And he came and laid with me.
How cute.
He was so cute. I felt honored. Like, when an animal like chooses you, it's always like,
fully.
Am I like God's gift to the planet? Or?
Versus like my dog is so non-loyal that he'll like go up to anyone
like,
and be
"Bye."
like, new best friend, new owner.
Yeah, that's true. That's how
good.
Vision is. He like doesn't care. He doesn't care what I do, but also cares about everything I do at the same time.
Exactly. They both follow us around, so they care to an extent.
Vision doesn't follow me around.
Really?
No. I go upstairs.
He'll stay?
He don't care. He's like, I'm taking
Rex
a nap.
is like glued to my hip.
Reese is glued to my hip.
Okay.
Even though Reese's hip could give out at any moment, he will go up and down, up and down, and
Poor
follow
doggy.
me. Anyway, so yeah, it was great. Good. We run a little like a retreat. So the order that it went into, Kirsten Mark spoke first. And, because, it's her event. It was an incredible speech. She went through like her whole life journey and like all of the lessons that she learned, like leading up into that
Even
point.
like the shortened speech that she did at your Know Your Power event made me cry.
Yes. So. I got to watch like.
Great speaker.
So during the Know Your Power event, she was only able to do like that portion, but she went all the way back further. So I got to learn more about her story. And I watched that. She plays this clip, and it's this beautiful clip of like how her daughter spoke about her when she got married to her husband. And the lesson behind that was like, I thought that I had been doing like a terrible job as a mother, and to see that my daughter didn't feel that at all, and she was inspired by me, and all the mothers like just crying. So Zach,
I think that's the exact part that made me cry when I heard it.
Yeah. And I still cried again. I was like, dang it, you got me again.
How cute.
But yeah, so we did that. We did the little retreat, and it was unreal like how many women were crying before we even started doing any processes or anything. Just with like the speaking part. Like I spoke first, and then Zach did his thing, and then we ran the experience together, and it was just really cool getting to see like and talk to them afterwards about like that they didn't know that all of this was underneath, like all of this was there. Some of them have been through some crazy things, like wild, and it was just unreal. It was great.
Well,
to get to meet them all. Yeah.
I'm happy for you too, to like travel and be with like a new audience that isn't necessarily like your audience, but it's similar. And that's cool.
And we have some plans to do some big things together in the future.
Good.
With her community and with mine. And it's going to be badass. Of course, you're going to be a part of it, and you're going to be there.
I'll just show up to whatever.
Yes, because
you let me know.
Yeah, and we'll do that. We have those plans.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's like, it's great to meet another woman that is doing something like almost like a very similar model to I am, and that also has this incredible community of women from literally all walks of life. Like, it was really cool because it very much mirrored the girls that we had at the Know Your Power retreat, where it was like women of all ages, all sizes. Some were bodybuilders, some were aspiring bodybuilders, some weren't at all. Like some are moms.
That's always my favorite to see, because I feel like it's a very easy transition from like fitness health and caring about like your body's well-being to then transferring into like my mental well-being. So like that transfer, I think we see a lot when someone isn't in the fitness world at all and they're just there for the mental side. It's like, I feel like I almost see those women even more, because I'm like, you showed up like fully for yourself, you know, like you weren't already following like a fitness person and then they transferred, so then you transferred. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense.
I always like to say, I heard this quote from one of my friends. Fitness is the gateway drug to personal development. And that's what I found in my journey. And I know a lot of people, you know, listening also did, because you first change your body mainly from like a vain place. You know, we all want to look good. We all want to feel good. If we are like outward exterior definitely reflects how we feel about ourselves on the inside, and, you know, how well we take care of ourselves. So when I started my journey, I started realizing if I can change my physique on my own and all of my habits, what else could I change for the better? And so I worked on my relationships with my friends. I worked on my relationships with my family, and most importantly, my relationship with myself. And that's why I think marrying those two together is so powerful, because all of those women could understand like what I was saying, and I could relate it to like health and fitness. But also at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good your body looks, what size you are. If you don't actually love you and your body and who you are as a person underneath all of that, none of that matters
at all.
Which is crazy.
So. I think that's why we all, like you were saying, get into the fitness world though, because we're like, we can change ourselves to make ourselves love ourselves.
Yes, and then you realize, like, oh, it's way more than that.
Oh, I had to love myself in all those forms.
First, got it. So,
which I feel like is like so talked about, even in like relationships. They're like, oh, love yourself first, and then you can love a partner better. And it's like, it is the most true statement ever, and you won't realize that until you're forced to realize that. And then once you make that change, it's like everything else falls into place.
Another thing that we talked about that I really wanted to share, and how, what was it? Wait. It wasn't at the retreat. I think it was actually on a call that Zach and I had the other day with our Know Your Power. If you guys don't know, I have a Know Your Power VIP coaching where the girls, like, they have weekly calls with me, nutrition, supplementation, like full access to me whenever they need me and stuff like that. So we have our weekly hour-long calls, and we go over so many different topics. And we didn't even plan this topic, but it kind of came up. And it was the topic of knowing that you need to let somebody go in your life or something, and you just holding out on that and not doing it. So Zach was telling this story about, and we've all had, like, you know, me and you have had one of those things with like relationships and with friends and stuff where you know you need to let them go, and that you're moving on, and that you guys are going in different paths, but you still are like so attached to the idea that you have of that person in your mind that you like hold on for dear life, even if it's not good for you. So one of the examples was like, for me, okay, I'm going to use Zach's example actually, because I don't want to use mine, because I don't know if I have that person's permission to use that story. But I'll use Zach's story. You know, I could say whatever. And
it's on him.
So Zach had this like best friend, and this best friend like continuously like they were best friends for years. He continuously like for the past year and a half has been like just hurting him, you know, like just very out of alignment and hurting him. And Zach is very forgiving. So he would like forgive.
Me and Zach have that in common.
I know, like no matter what, which is like, it's a nice quality, but then at the end of the day, it's like at a detriment to you.
Yeah.
So he told me that one thing that he did was like, there was this kind of like, I guess, last straw sort of moment. And he went into like a float tank and was like, his intention was to, you know, meditate and kind of release it so that it didn't have any weight on him. And he said that one thing that helped him was he removed the label of what that person was. So the label of my best friend in the whole wide world. This might even be like, oh, my dad, oh, my mom, oh, my sister, because a lot of times the people that hurt us the most are the ones that are the closest to us.
Yeah.
So if you're, you know, you have a very negative relationship with your mother, when you label her as your mother, it's so much harder to set those boundaries and maybe like pull back a little bit because she's your mom.
Yeah.
So if you remove the label of mom, if you're listening, we have a great relationship. This isn't about
not
you.
About
I love
you.
you. I'm not, my mom just always texts me, what did you say about this? What did you mean by this? So I'm using like the mom and the best friend.
Yeah.
So if you remove the label of mother, and just like, this person is treating me like X, Y, Z. If this person just off the street was treating me like this, would I accept this?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is my best friend in the whole wide world. If this was any other person on the street treating me like this, would I accept this? No. And of course, like, it's a lot harder to cut off like family because, you know, we're in a society where like, it's just like, you just don't do that. It's like family ride or die, no matter what they do to you. But that was really interesting to me because I wish I would have knew that whenever like I was moving through some of those things. I was like, oh,
yeah,
you know,
that's a really good way to look at it because I was someone, and for a long time I would kind of label myself as the person that couldn't leave a relationship. Like we all know, like, I was in a
loyal to a fault.
Yeah. Like I was in a very toxic relationship for like, and I would have stayed forever. Not because I wanted to. No part of me wanted to be in that relationship. I didn't feel like I had the strength to set the boundaries to leave that person.
Yeah.
And if I think that's the point I got to where I was no longer seeing him as my partner. I was like, oh, this human is just treating me really crappy. So like, it's time. And even then it took so long after seeing that point to finally be away from that.
Yes. Like where you're already broken up. I've been in a relationship where we were broken up for like a year and a half before I actually did it. And of course it's like, that's not fair to me. That's also not fair to the person, but dang.
Yeah. But that's a really good like exercise to view it as if there is like some animosity or something happening, or like even good relationships. I don't know. Like sometimes I view like friendship. I'm so weird about friendships, and I kind of want to talk about that too. I was like going to add it to the list of just like making new friends, because I feel like I'm very much so in that stage right now where I'm like forcing myself to reach out to people that I really like the energy of. Yeah. But that's one of those things where I get so nervous about like inviting new friends to things or like calling them friends or whatever. I'm just like, I still carry a lot of that from like my childhood and not having a large friend group where I get nervous around new people. But even on the positive side where I go, oh, I really like that human. Like I literally said that to a girl recently. We made plans to like go get coffee later this week, but my intro text to her was like, you're just a really cool human being. Like I love your energy. I would love to be like around you more. Like, can we do like anything? I was like, we can go shopping. We can like go to the gym, like whatever it was. But it's just about like recognizing people and their energy and how they treat you and how you treat them, instead of like those labels of this is a stranger, so I'm nervous. I'm like, oh, this is a really cool person and I want to be closer to her. Or like, oh, this person really sucks. I should probably distance myself from them.
Keep a very healthy distance.
And that, I feel like I like really flipped on that front, where I went from being the person who felt like I couldn't leave a situation, set boundaries, get rid of, that sounds so messed up, like, but get rid of friendships that were really destructive or relationships that were really destructive. And now I'm the person where it's like, oh, this person's not treating me well, bye. Like, never need to talk to you again.
It is just also like a very, especially if you've been through it a couple of times, it's so much energy. And one thing that I realized too with my own journey, you know, this might even be like a relationship that you have with a partner. You know, there's been times where like I said, have checked out of relationships so early on, and I just didn't want to be alone. I know that now. You know, and I would use like the excuses like back then of like why I didn't do it, you know, for a number of different things. But at the end of the day, it's like if you're hanging on to like a friend group that's no longer serving you and your goals, that like make fun of you for going to the gym and, you know, eating healthy, and you're just changing, and that's okay. They can do what they want. You can do what you want. Or a partner that maybe doesn't support your goals, or just a partner that you are falling out of love with. And when you really look at it and you're just like clinging and hanging on, most of the time it comes with like, you have a problem being alone. So you would rather have bad company than no company. My rule
I feel
now,
so called out to younger Kendall.
No, I'm calling myself out because I did this too. Yeah. Now my new rule is I would rather have no company than bad company. So just like, let me repeat that again. I forgot what I said.
I'd rather have no company than bad company.
I'd rather have no company than bad company.
So true.
Yes.
I feel like that's why I'm trying to make friends again. Because I think I went so far into that where I was like, I love being alone so much, and I still do, and I always will. But I was like, you know, I should let a few people in.
Yeah.
Just a few, the good energy people. I should let the good energy people in, because it's so easy for me to revert back into, well, I love being alone, so I could just chill alone every day for the rest of my life. And like, of course I have my significant other and he's there too, but we're both alone in shared space, if that makes sense. Exactly. Like we're not always even hanging out. Sometimes like I'm on
your partner
one side
is
of the
different
house
than like a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like it's just different. Like, of course I can still talk to Zach about like, you know, maybe some tea that's going on, but of course he's not going to give me the response I want.
Ever.
Like I'd rather call my mom and tell her about the tea. She'd give me the best. She'd be like, "Oh my God, really?" My mom literally called me the other day just to tell me some tea. And that was
so
it.
did my mom.
Yeah, it was funny.
I can't even remember what it was. Oh, I do remember what it was. But she calls me and she goes, "Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this." And I said, "Hold on."
That's exactly how my mom started the book.
Like,
she goes, "Oh my
I
God,
got
you're
all
not gonna believe
comfortable.
it."
I was like, "Let me get my popcorn. Okay, tell me
ready.
the tea." And then she like paused and I was like, "Ma'am," I was like, "I'm waiting for this tea now." Like spit it out.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think it's so important to protect your energy and not waste it on people who wouldn't reciprocate it. I think that's so important too, where like a lot of my friendships as a kid and like into middle school, high school age, I would die for those people.
Yes.
And I realized at a certain point, oh, they wouldn't die for me.
Yes.
You know, so you also want everything to be as reciprocated as possible. Sometimes something is a little more one-sided, but you never want to feel like you're giving someone your world and they just don't care at all.
That's
so
true.
Recognize those.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to go into any of this episode.
Yeah,
A good mental health check-in though. I feel like these talks are always important, especially after having like a very like spiritual weekend that you had. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was so incredible. Like I really didn't want to leave. Like I really enjoyed being there so much, and it was just nice to do something different because a lot of my days, like they very much look the same on prep. And
you're like wake up, cardio,
you know, and of course,
workout.
like I am a person that really enjoys routine a lot. Like I enjoy having a routine, but I also enjoy having things that break it up. Like whether it's like going and doing one of the retreats, like this weekend I'm going to Houston and I'm going to be posing with my little 18-year-old wellness girl, and I'm so excited.
No, she knows we talk about her on the pod like once a week.
I know. She's like my adopted little sister, and she doesn't know it. She has no idea. But I texted her, and I was like, I'm so pumped. I was like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. Saturday, I was like, of course, we're training legs. So she's like, that's my quad, because I'm programming her. She's like, that's my quad day. I was like, dope. We'll do it together. I will kill you. And then we're going to do posing together.
This poor girl.
And yeah, it's going to be fun.
No, that's awesome. That's exciting. Yeah. I had one heck of a week since I last saw you also, but we had very different types of
Chloe
weeks.
got her sick.
A busy week. Was it
I
her?
didn't get sick. So
but
it wasn't
was
me.
Chloe like sick? I couldn't tell. Okay, I was with my nephews like the weekend before we filmed. Chloe was like a little sicky when we saw her last week.
My mom texted me. Okay, so my mom texted me the week before
that she was sick. Okay.
So I think it was
Chloe's
good.
not allowed on the pod when she's sick anymore. I
also think you have the immune system
I was about to say
of a squirrel.
I was about to say I have the worst immune system
Kendall gets
literally
sick
ever.
so easily.
I didn't know that about myself because I
Yeah.
felt like I was always just around healthy adults. But now being around like my nephews every few weeks and they are just constantly picking their nose and like coughing and just being 2-year-olds, you can't really help it. I was with them yesterday and one of them was coughing on my face. I was like, at least I'm already sick,
when
so
kids
it's okay.
cough, they literally just
Their parents are teaching them like cover your mouth.
so funny.
And it's like they're not, they're a little too young to fully recognize that. Anyway, so I wake up like 2 days after filming the podcast, feeling like a truck hit me, just awful.
That's when you know.
And I was like, okay, I'm starting to get sick. I immediately text Julia and Chloe, and I said, one of you got me sick.
I was
and
like,
I'm
it's
pissed.
Chloe because I had like that day, I had the sniffles for one day. My throat hurt a little bit. And I was like, I was like,
mine has
am I
been
getting
a
sick?
week long, and
next day I was fine.
It was full. The next day, this is where my immune system sucks, and yours is probably much stronger than mine.
You know why?
Why?
Because I eat food off the floor.
I don't. That is our difference. Maybe I should start
It's
anything.
because
I need anything.
I truly believe that I don't get sick. One, because my mom breastfed me as a child.
Same though.
And then two, because I'm not a germy person. I'm not very like. Of course, like I'm clean, guys. Don't get it twisted. But like, I'm not very like germy.
I use hand sanitizer at least 12 times a day.
Yeah, I'm not germy.
So.
And it's crazy because there's this girl that I knew in high school. I still remember her name. I think her name was Lily, and she was one of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
She was the girl that would like sit down for lunch, bring out her hand sanitizer, eat. She would then get her hand sanitizer, eat. She was always sick. It's like
Maybe hand sanitizer is the problem.
I know.
I'm gonna start
it's
just not washing
like,
my hands and see how I do.
No, I'm always like, I just am not very like a germy person, and
You're like lift weights at the gym, eat.
I know.
Okay, I need to start doing that.
Just
Anyway, okay.
lick a dumbbell every once in a while, just and then get
vile.
get some germs.
Well, that too. Like I train people, and all of my clients have in-home gyms, and I'll like get down and stretch with them and stuff. So like my hands are on like their floors, so I'm always like overly aware of washing my hands. But maybe I do it a little too much, where I don't have any good bacteria anymore.
Or any skin left on your hands.
Yeah, that too. I have like such a phobia of like certain. I don't know how to explain this, and this is not important at all. But sometimes when I wash my hands, if like that soap and like water, like I don't know how to explain it, but it makes my skin crawl so bad and I want to chop my hands off. I don't really have like any sort of like.
That made no sense.
I don't know how to explain
You said
it.
when I wash my hands, soap and water gives me cringe.
Yes, actually, yeah. That's all I can explain it
Like
as.
the feeling of
like
soap.
as it dries, like soap, very distant residue, like drying on your hands. I literally have to use.
Sticky.
I have to like douse my body in lotion after I wash my hands because it grosses me out. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, this
Anyway.
is why you get sick a lot.
Yeah, probably. So anyway, the first day I'm like, oh, I'm getting a little sick, but it's just a cold. I'll be fine. That night, full blown fever, chills. Like I was so sick this weekend, and it was the only weekend I did things. So like typically I'm like, oh, I'm at home all weekend anyway. I try not to work Saturday, Sunday. Those are like, I give myself my weekends off. Like I might do some like editing or whatever, but no like in-person work. And so typically I'd just be laying down anyway. So I'm like sick. But this was like the only weekend in my entire life where I had, we had a friend come visit from Florida. And they weren't staying with us, but they're like the type of person to do a bunch of stuff.
Oh, they do things?
Yeah, which I'm not used to doing. We went out. I drank for like the first time in like 6 months while sick. Not a good choice. The next day we go to Barton Springs. We spend the whole day in the sun and in the water. And like I'm dehydrated. I couldn't eat. We went out to eat. They had nothing gluten-free. Like I was just,
oh my God.
By the end of this weekend, I felt so freaking awful, which is fully my fault. I should have just laid in bed all day. And I did for like 90% of the day, but then at night I went out, and then that next day they were like, oh, we're going here. And it was like the one time I had FOMO also, because I was like, I don't want to be sick in bed when like you guys are all doing stuff and it sounds really fun.
Barton springing.
Yeah, and we've been doing that a lot recently, and I do love Barton Springs. I for years have never been there until this year, and I really like it there.
I mean, yeah, it's super cool. For me, I just like hate waiting
a lot of
in the
people
line.
Also,
and all the people. It's just like when something seems like such a challenge to me to like get to
it's really not bad.
To like get to, I'm like, yeah,
I would say parking's bad, but once you park, you're fine.
This is the steps I go in my head. I'm like, okay, we got to drive there.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to park.
Yeah.
Then we got to walk up there.
Yeah.
And it's further, the further you park. I was like, and then you got to wait in line. And
there's no line.
You got to, usually there's a line. And then you got to find a spot.
Depends when you go.
If you go
Finding
to the paid
a spot
part.
Can be hard.
The paid.
Yeah, we go to the paid part.
And then it's like, and then it's like an hour later, you've laid down. And I'm like, I'm already ready to go.
I feel that. I do feel that. Anyway, so we spent the whole day there. And then, I get home and I'm like, on the floor crying, worse headache. Also, through all of this, I've had insane knots in my trap. And I don't know why. Like, I've tried to really reduce training upper body, not for aesthetics, but for like the pain it causes me. And yet I have the craziest knots that are giving me like crazy headaches on top of being sick. I'm on the floor. I'm crying. I'm like,
how long has it been since you went to the chiropractor?
Oh, I don't see them anymore. But that's because I have spine issues. Oh. But I need a massage for sure. Massage I need badly. But now we have a massage chair. So I'm like, kind of half does the same thing. Anyway, not important. So I'm like, I'm done with people. Their friend had left. I was like, thank goodness. I was like, no more people. I'm laying in the bed the next 2 days. I literally had to cancel clients. Like I was that sick. And yet I was forcing myself. You probably
got more sick from
for
trying.
sure. I was like super dehydrated. I had alcohol, which my body never has, and I was in the sun, which I never do. So like my body was like, what the heck is going on? Anyway, I wake up the next morning, right? And I like roll over, check my phone, head is pounding, not from alcohol, but headaches from being sick. I didn't drink that much. I had like 2 drinks. Anyway, I check my phone and it's like, my dad's in town. Haven't seen my dad in like a year. So I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing? And so I have to go and get lunch with them and be around. And of course I want to, it's my family. I'm like, okay, I wish I reserved some of my energy for this. So then the next 2 days was like full family time, doing stuff 24/7. I have just like done the most things within the last like 5 days and have felt so awful during all of it. I haven't worked out. That's another thing. And so that's messing with me like mentally because I've just been like today is the first day where I can like talk, where I can like talk and function and I don't have a headache yet, but like I feel it kind of creeping up. And I'm like, I really, really hope I can like at least go work out today. At least,
I think
at
you
minimum.
Need to.
I need to. I'm
just for your
it.
mental health.
Losing it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
I shouldn't have done anything
out a couple
I did.
of journeys.
No, it's just been, so while you were having a beautiful spiritual weekend, I was like, I felt like the worst thing ever and also was forced to do social things.
So many things.
So many social things. It's not even funny. And of course I had a great time and I like enjoyed it. But now it was one of those things where I looked at my boyfriend after and I said, that was a really fun weekend. Let's not do that for like 8 more months.
Yeah, let's not do it ever again.
Yeah, and he completely agrees, which is why I'm like, we are for sure soulmates because we have the same exact social battery where we were like, that was so much fun. Let's lay in bed the next 2 days, please. Like, I am over it. And he woke up yesterday sick and he has like a 101 fever. Like, he's pretty bad. So anyway.
And when guys are sick, it's the end of the
man
world.
flu. Yeah. But that was me this time. Like I was complaining a lot.
Like,
I was really trying to power through, but it's also, when you're sick and like you're powering through and you're like showing up and you want people to like appreciate the fact that you're doing it while sick. So I was like constantly reminding him of like, I feel like death right now, but
like,
I'm
hey,
here.
By the way, I'm sick, but I'm here.
Yeah.
Tell me how cool that is.
Yeah. So proud of myself.
Show me how cool.
I feel like I keep having bad sick luck and I really hate being sick. I'm like one of those people where it's like, I rather have like maybe I shouldn't manifest that. I was going to say I'd rather have like a physical injury than be sick because I feel like I could still at least work out if like,
unless it's your legs.
I sprained an ankle, but I'll work past it. I can't work past like hacking up a lung. I'm not going to like cough at the gym and be gross. Anyway, it has been a long week.
Snot all over the place.
I feel like I'm like doing better today than I expected to. I was like, I really hope Julia's in a talkative mood when I get there, because like this episode or 2 episodes are going to be rough for me to film, but we're working through it.
We got this.
We got this.
And I'm feeling completely fine.
Good.
I have a massage today.
Must be
It's
nice.
a great day. I started upping my massages to every other week now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been the best.
I've been wanting to go. It's just I feel really bad doing anything sick. Like even all the social things we did, I was kind of in my own bubble, and the people that were in my immediate bubble knew how I was feeling, and I like triple checked, are you okay with me coming into your home? Are you okay with me being around these people? Like I told everyone we were around, and even at Barton Springs, like Cooper and I were in our own little like area, and our friends were like
You're
a
like
little bit away.
Bubble girl.
I knew how sick I was, and I didn't want to force that upon anyone else. I forget where I was even going with that. Oh, so I've been wanting a massage, but I'm like, I know I need to wait until I'm healthy enough where I like for sure I'm not going to sneeze or cough or breathe on this person's face. I would just feel so bad. Anyway, we don't have to spend a ton of time on it because we ended up talking about so many other things. But I want to talk a little bit about what it's like getting back on track, because I know this is like kind of a season where a lot of people are getting sick. It's also, I feel like summertime is when a lot of people go on like long vacation. So I feel like it obstructs the fitness routine. At least it is for me. And it sucks. I hate it. And I want to talk about it because maybe you're going through similar or will at some point like during the summer. So for me, like going back into the gym today, I feel like old me, when I would get sick, I would first off just go to the gym. Like I didn't care at all. And I was like, we're going to sweat through this and power through this, when I knew my body actually needed to rest and recover. And anyway, going back into the gym, I feel like it is so easy for me mentally right now to be like, you haven't been in the gym for like almost a week. You feel awful. Your body, I also was getting to such a good place. I even voiced this last night where I was like, I feel like I was really crushing content again and like really in my like fitness routine and feeling really good and really liking how my physique was looking. And it's so easy now to be away from it for like 5 days and be like, everything's ruined.
Yes.
Everything's gone. All my progress, everything I was doing, it's all away now.
Which is not true. It doesn't
I know.
happen that quickly. It really doesn't.
Thankfully. But just like I wanted to voice that first off, okay. It's okay to take a week off. It's not going to kill you. But also just like kind of the steps I'm taking going back into it are a much more gentle, nice, kind. Are you okay?
Yeah, I yawned.
Kind approach to, that was a yawn.
Yeah.
Approach to myself instead of being like, I need to go back into the gym today and leg press as heavy as my body can do. And I also need to do cardio and also need to eat 100% clean. And it's like, it is okay to almost gentle parent yourself when getting back on track and take things slow. I like went for a walk yesterday, like a 2-mile walk with my family. And that was like enough for my body to feel like I did something without obviously going and aggressive weight training and all the things. So just kind of taking baby steps back into it. When you travel, like over the weekend, I know you went to the gym, but do you feel off your routine at all? Like, is it hard coming back, or is it like, are you excited to be back?
Usually it's kind of hard coming back and getting into the routine. Mainly because I'm so tired after, especially because just Canada, our flights were like, it just seems so long.
Yeah.
But usually it's like, it takes me like a day. Usually that Monday is more of like try and relax.
Yeah.
At least with work, I can't really relax with training because I still have to do all my training.
Yeah.
But like I will block off that Monday so that I don't have to do very many calls or anything like that.
Makes sense.
It usually is a little weird, like getting back into like the swing of things, especially like the longer you're away, the more it's like you forget what your life was like.
Exactly.
So it was just like a little weekend thing. So it wasn't that bad, but yeah.
Yeah. I feel like for me, traveling is equivalent of being sick, where I just feel like I was in a different universe for like a week. And it's like coming back to reality. I get really excited though, but I almost get like too excited to get back on track, where then I like train too hard
Yes.
if my body wasn't used to it. Like you were working out because prep while traveling, but sometimes I've gone on trips where I'll intentionally not work out for a few days. And then I come back and I'm like, my body is wrecked and I'm so sore and I regret going as hard as I did. But I also got so excited that it was hard not to. So I'm really trying to remind myself, like going back into the gym this week of like, baby steps. Like you're still not completely healthy either. Like it's okay if we do half the weight that you typically do. That doesn't mean you lost the progress. It just means you need to take time to get that back. You know?
And it literally will come back. It's just you've been off for a little bit. Your body's not used to moving that weight that you've been moving for weeks maybe.
Yeah.
And it's very, very, very normal. And I think that going in slow and steady is always the more sustainable route.
Always.
And that's with mainly anything that you're doing drastically to like change your habits in your life. It's like you don't cut your calories in half if you want to lose weight. Slow and steady is better.
Yes.
You don't go from not working out at all to working out 7 days a week. 3 days is better. You know, it's like that's always the more sustainable route. But like we live in this, you know, mindset that I think we're slowly starting to like move out of just like you have to go balls to the wall first off if you want to like succeed. And it's like, no, the going balls to the wall right off the bat is usually what like leads us to feeling like a failure later when we can't live up to these unrealistic expectations that we made up ourselves.
Isn't that funny that we do that to ourselves?
Yes.
We're like, we get disappointed because we didn't hit the goal that we set out to hit.
You're like,
it's like, or you could have chosen a more obtainable goal.
It's like
you'd feel great right now.
You did it.
I did
no one's forcing you to do it, right? That's usually what I'm thinking. Like whenever like I get really frustrated with like bodybuilding and sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to do cardio. I'm too tired to train. I don't have enough food. Whatever it might be. I'm like, ain't nobody holding a gun to your head making you do this.
Like you chose this life.
Nobody's making you do this. So shut up. You know?
That too, I saw that as like, it's kind of a trend right now, but I know we've talked about it before. It's like a privilege to work out, you know? It's like a privilege that we can have access to gyms or like have gym memberships or choose to bodybuild, you know? Like those are privileges to choose to eat less. And yet we treat it like it's this like catastrophe. And it's like, hold on, like you chose this lifestyle. And if anything, you chose it out of like a challenge for yourself. So you should be showing up for that challenge, you know? But
so you're getting back on track.
Yeah. And I'm excited too. I feel like I'm just such a shell of a human being right now because like, I feel like I can handle being sick, but like migraines really take me out. Like I've slept more than I've been awake the last like 5 days. So
how many hours do you think?
2 minutes. Like every day I would take at least like a 4-hour nap. Like my body was just, I was like really sick. And I feel
that
like
probably weekend made your sickness
for sure
definitely worse and go a lot longer.
Well, that's how it was. It's like Saturday, I literally slept all day. So then I woke up at like 10 p.m. and they were like, hey, like we're just going to this like local bar. Like no pressure to come. But I was like, well, I just slept all day. So I'm wide awake. I'm going to be sitting here like I might as well sit there. So yeah, it's not like I really didn't do a ton. It's just every time I was awake, I was doing something. I just have been a mess, an absolute mess, which is out of my control, which is hard. Because like usually, I don't know if things are going on, I can at least navigate how my life is going. But I've been so sick that I couldn't do anything. Like I couldn't work. I couldn't post on YouTube either. And that like broke my heart. And I was trying so hard, but I was like literally like crying in these clips because I was in so much pain and trying to show up and trying to talk. And my mom called me. She's like, so how sick are you that you couldn't do YouTube? And I was like, dude, I have a 100 fever right now. Like I feel awful. Like I'm in bed.
My mom's like, I've been waiting for your video and it hasn't come out.
No, exactly. Which I appreciate her holding me accountable because old Kendall, that would have been a cop out of like, I don't feel good. But like, I felt awful and I was still trying so hard. And I felt so, kind of like what we're saying with like setting goals of like YouTube is a goal of mine. And I was like almost so disappointed in myself that I couldn't post. And it was just because like filming schedule was being shifted anyway. And then I was so sick that day and I was like, dang. And then it was like, whatever. I'll get back on track this week.
Exactly.
I'm excited to feel better and to get back on track. And that's how everyone should feel. Like if you have the opportunity to be getting back on track, that's a privilege.
Yes,
So,
it's cool. It's exciting. Just don't go super ham.
yes.
Ease into it.
Ease in.
Don't go 0 to 100 and set your expectations super, super high. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Talking to me.
We learned that today? Okay. Well, that's going to be it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. We love you all so much, and you're more powerful than you think.
Bye.